Hello everyone, my friends. How are you getting on today? I hope you're doing well. I hope life is treating you well, I hope life is treating you as well as can be expected. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're staying safe. I hope everything is all right for you. Before we start our video today, I want to take a very quick second to say thank you very much to our sponsor, Surfshark. Surfshark is an excellent service that has effectively enabled this season to happen. They are a wonderful, wonderful VPN service, wehey, and because they are such legends, they have given us a code to pass on to you. If you go to surfshark.com/whatculture, you will get 83% off your purchase and 3 months free subscription, which will enable you, using your VPN, to, well, you know what you can do. You are awesome, Surfshark. Thank you so much for your support. Season 4, Episode 10, The Galactic Barrier, ups and downs. You know how it's going to work. We're going to go through everything we like and give it an up, and everything that we like and give it a down. The first up of the episode goes to the side-splitting comedy of Dr. Kovac. No, I'm serious, I'm giving this an up. David Cronenberg was... I knew when he first appeared in Star Trek Discovery that I was going to enjoy him. He brings a gravitas and this absolute deadpan humour to the show that is so badly needed. You know what I mean? He gets plenty to do in this first scene. Unfortunately, he's not coming with them on the ship, but he does say, you know, what needs to be done. He's sending his new friend, Dr. Hirai, who is brilliant and gets the joke. We like him very much, as they talk about the, you know, the importance of communication here. And I suppose in a sort of a macro way, communication is nearly the theme of Season 4 of Star Trek Discovery, and the different variations of. Cronenberg, as usual, manages to cut through any and all nonsense in the room, but Dr. Hirai makes him laugh. And I mean, if nothing else, that was getting it up. The second up of the episode for me goes to the fact that President Rillick is going with them on the mission. And it's not just that, oh, the president's going, that's great. It's that her presence this season has brought something to Discovery, an authority that I feel we've been lacking a little bit since Pike in Season 2, another point of view that's not necessarily opposed to everyone else, but it's a bit like that theory of if you have 10 scientists, one of them has to disagree, because you have to look at the other ways of doing things, and that's kind of the role I think that the president is filling here. I do love her scene with Admiral Vance, and just that exchange is just enough to be like, hey, you know, she is a person. She's a person who very much knows what she's at, what she's doing, where she's doing it. Like, she's a boss. There is no question to that. But I do like as well that when the reveal comes, of course, because it's Star Trek, you have to have a ticking clock going down so that the DMA has appeared in the Alpha Quadrant and it's heading toward Ni'Var on Earth. She is able to go, look, we need to withhold this information from the crew. We can't have the crew basically buried in their own emotions right now while she's managing the fact that her family's on Earth and her partner is on the moon. Like, it's the greater good, it's authority, it's power, and it's something that, while Burnham doesn't necessarily disagree with her, it's bringing that other voice to the room. There are different styles of command, and I think both are absolutely necessary. Burnham's style of command, let's get through this task. Let's get through this job. Let's do this. And although she wants to tell the crew, I think Relic's style of command slots in very nicely here. That no, withhold until, need to know, let's just focus on the micro task at hand. So between them, I think they make an excellent command crew for this mission. Of course, while the main thrust of the episode is focused on the Great Barrier itself and getting through to the other side, the B plot, I feel, is as important as the A plot this week, and that is, big up, we get Tarka's backstory. Now look, I'm not going to make any secret of the fact that I've not been the biggest fan of Tarka. Well, maybe that's the wrong word. I don't think you're really supposed to be a fan of Tarka, but I've struggled with his character a little bit because, quite frankly, he's just been a bit of a gobshite. I don't really like him, and I don't understand why Buck is hanging out with him. You know, listen, there's loads of people I'll go for a pint with. I don't think I want to go for a pint with a man who's like, oh, do you want, yeah, to the galaxy. We learn crucial information about Tarka. And I'm looking at the down counter going, well, you took your bloody time, but look, it's an up. Tarka and Oros. This was alluded to, of course, we know that Tarka has a friend. He did mention interdimensional travel, and we get that whole backstory here. Very reminiscent to me, in a way, of O'Brien's struggles during Hard Times, season 4 of DS9, that this friend he spends, now obviously, in O'Brien's version, it was all in his head, each are 20 years, but didn't actually exist, but the memory of him does. Oros spent 2 years with Tarka. They obviously grow very, very close toward the end. And I like, I'm sorry, I like that they don't labor on the fact that, you know, the reveal, Tarka was introduced as a spy and then 2 years later, oh, Tarka, you were working for us. No. There's such an old and tired trope of, oh, I was a spy at the beginning, but now my feelings are real, blumpa-dumpa-dumpa-dum, and then, oh my God, I'm so betrayed, bullshit. Right? What I love in this is that Oros is like, yeah, like maybe in the start, sure, I didn't trust you didn't trust me, sure, no we did, it's been 2 years, we're mates, like. There's no whinging or wasting time over that reveal. I love that. Well done, Star Trek Discovery, for that one. And it gave me a little bit more of a tie to Tarka as a character. Now, it's late in the day. I don't know what's going to happen with Tarka, whether he's going to live, whether he's going to die. I don't know at this point. But at least from this point, I'm not sort of rooting for him to go the way of Lieutenant Franklin on the Jenolan. Now, actually, I have a down that comes from this scene. And this might seem nitpicky, so I apologise. Down. Does Cloaking Technology not cloak ships anymore, no? In a show where my next up is going to be about visuals, so in a show where the visuals are, I mean, you can't really criticise the visuals of Star Trek Discovery. They're absolutely bloody gorgeous. And yet Cloaking Technology, it's gone back to the sort of a, oh, we've just kind of turned the ship kind of mirror, you know, we can still see it, like I can eyeball your ship, but you know, it won't turn up on scanners. Whereas Star Trek has always just made the ship invisible. In fact, thinking all the way back to the Star Trek fact files, when they were explaining Cloaking Technology, it basically puts a bubble around the ship that sort of warps space, and therefore, you know, visually and scanners, you can't see it. And I've always loved that. It's literally invisible, that you could fly within a few inches of the ship, and if you were looking out the window, you still wouldn't see anything. One of the great examples, of course, being Star Trek VI, with Chang's Bird of Prey sitting directly underneath the Enterprise A, and of course, nobody notices. So, the shuttle that's over at, you know, this planet is like, and Discovery last week is like, cloak, damn it. It's enough for me to get it down. Now, I did mention that the next up was going to be about the visuals, and it's the Great Barrier itself. The Great Barrier in the original series was, of course, introduced all the way back in Where No Man Has Gone Before, and it showed up again in By Any Other Name. So we have seen the barrier, and now, of course, it got a revamp for the remaster on TOS, but it was always a relatively simple. I mean, I think it was originally depicted as a kind of a pink line, like literally like, oh, boop, we've booped off the front of it. If the barrier is so difficult to get through, you'd think it would be slightly more than a boop. Now, they do talk about the Kelvins obviously soup up the Enterprise so that it can travel through the barrier. And here, you know, 50 odd years later, we finally understand that, oh, the barrier's bad. I actually really like this depiction of it. It's like blood cells, you know, running through an artery. And the Discovery effectively becomes a virus, having to jump from cell to cell because it can't really safely travel in between them. It's a hell of a depiction. In a way, it's kind of like playing the floor is lava. You gotta get to the safe one, you've gotta get in there. I must say now, it's stunning visually, but also this reimagining of the barrier, it gives us, well, frankly, it gives us a barrier. Something that it's really difficult to travel through. It's very different from the original series interpretation. And that's, as you know, I'm totally fine with updating everything, so, you know, that doesn't bother me at all. I think it would have looked quite silly now if the Discovery had rocked up and, we have to get through the barrier. Oh, what, that pink thing? Whoop, we'll just hop over that. I do like that it's souped up. I like that there feels to be a definite edge to the galaxy. I would love a bird's eye view of the Milky Way galaxy as depicted in Star Trek Discovery, just to see now with the barrier what that looks like. And actually leading on from that, I'm being very generous with the ups this week, so another up for me is the technobabble. Now, I love technobabble is nearly as old as Star Trek itself. You have engineer, doctor, scientist, reams off this information. So in this case, it's Stamets talking about these grayscale cells and how these colored cells have to go one way or another way, and you have to get into that one, and that one's gonna da-da-da-da-da-da. And basically Burnham goes, so we need to hop from one to the other, yeah? And I love it! One of the most fun ones that always springs to mind is All Good Things. We have Data reams off an information, and you just have Dr. Rush going, in English please, Data. I love it. I love it. It's a trope of Star Trek. It's just fun. Look, overall, this episode, I think, is one of the strongest of season 4 so far. I think it's suffered a little bit from the week to week, I have to say, because obviously it's being written as a 13-hour movie, and I think I'm feeling it a little bit more this season. This episode really, in my opinion, went away toward really pushing us forward. And I mean, if for no other reason at all, the combination of the Galactic Barrier and Tarka's backstory has made this one of my favourite episodes of the season. Now, with all that said, let's go join me at Cetacean Observations. Alrighty. Well, we get a little bit of a treat in that first scene around the table with Kovich, don't we? First of all, there's a Picard-era badge sitting on that table. Justice for the All Good Things com badge, that's all I'm saying. TOS Universal Translator. Been a while since we've seen that one. TOS com badge. Also, Enterprise-era tricorder, or at least one that looks very, very like it. Burnham says in her speech to the crew that they are going where no one has gone before. I mean, man. The Galactic Barrier itself, as I said, it's been depicted in where no man has gone before and by any other name. I love this version of it, I have to say, because it looks like an actual barrier. I won't belabor a point, but yes, there we are. Our lovely Ferengi delegate is sitting on board the Discovery. Book and Tarka's planet, visually, if you think back to Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 6, Episode 2, Rocks and Shoals, the Jem'Hadar ship crash lands into the planet, containing the DS9 crew, of course. They find that there are a Jem'Hadar task force there. There is that walkway, a strip, and it really reminds me of that visual planet that they were on, which I believe was also used in If Memory Serves. If memory serves, I believe it was also used in If Memory Serves as a stand-in for Talos 4. The whole interdimensional transporter. So obviously this is a new, more accurate version, because we've seen interdimensional transporters before. There was the completely accidental one all the way back in the original series, Mirror Mirror, and then there was the device that allowed Smiley to move through into DS9 and through the Looking Glass, and of course Jennifer Sisko to hop between dimensions in Shattered Mirror, and of course again, in The Emperor's New Cloak. So we have seen interdimensional transporters before, but not one where you can pick and choose. But of course, between you, me, and the wall, there was only ever the two universes before. So, I mean, just introducing trouble here. Kylese. So this is this creation sort of origin myth that Oros has, that his people have always spoken of Kylese. And I got real Shakari vibes off this. Vortavor, QE2, and Eden. Obviously, the Great Barrier and the Galactic Barrier are two different things. I respect that. But they're both stemming from the original series, and they're both sort of faith-based journeys. So I really got that the idea that there was this name for somewhere else to go, and there's another dimension. Yeah, I got Star Trek 5 vibes off that. As they're running through the barrier, they run into a spatial cell. They have to stop because there's a cluster of 42 others. What is 42? Well, it's the answer to the life, the universe, and everything. Detmer wants to go to Hawaii. Friend of Jack Ransom? Who knows? Now that's it for our Easter eggs this week. There is one last thing about the episode overall, and it's this idea of faith. Now, Tarka is a man who probably is about as far away from faith-based belief as anything, but he has faith in Oros, and I think it really benefits him as a character. And of course, there's the faith that they'll get through the Great Barrier, the faith that they will speak to the 10C and, you know, come to some sort of understanding before everything is destroyed. Now, I don't know what's going to happen next week. Does Star Trek Discovery have the balls to destroy Ni'Var again and Earth? Remains to be seen. It's picked up an awful lot this season. I've enjoyed season 4 overall, but I'm really enjoying this second half. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Everyone, thank you so much. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. As I say, thank you so much for your subscriptions. Really, it costs nothing and yet it benefits massively. So we're up to 183,000 subscribers. Our aim is 200,000 by summer and you can get us there. So thank you so much. You can catch us over on Twitter at Trek Culture. You can catch myself at Sean Ferrick on Twitter as well. Folks, just once more, look after yourselves, particularly now, wherever you are in the world. Be safe. Make sure that you are looking after your friends, your family, and whoever you can. Please join us next week. Live long and prosper. And thank you so much.